Alright, welcome back to another video of me documenting selling some calls and puts on the side for some extra income. I like to do these on Sundays, however I didn't get to do it yesterday. I've been busy just watching my portfolio value fall. In all seriousness, I'm going to make this short and sweet. We're going to talk about what transpired in the last week. I didn't end up selling any new puts and calls. We'll see that in my spreadsheet. But if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. That way you can follow along. I don't recommend you following me though. But I just make these just to document how this goes. If I can do this consistently, great. And if I can't, well, maybe you can learn from it. And as you've probably seen on YouTube, if you follow this finance space, a lot of the big mainstream YouTubers are talking about this banking collapse. I'm not going to bore you with my opinion on it because you probably don't care, and I don't blame you. But my boy Jeremy's switching it up with these clever titles such as Buy with multiple Ys. Isn't that fun? But if we look at my spreadsheet, this is how I keep track of me selling some calls and puts and seeing how much I can profit if I do profit. If we look back at the very first month of this year, I didn't profit. I was actually losing money. However, I stopped trading spreads and stuck more to just selling puts and calls on companies that if I end up acquiring, I'm okay with that. And so for this assigned column, the very first one, this call, it never reached the strike price of $13.35, the stock of Ford, by the end of day Friday. So this ended up not being assigned. I didn't have to sell 100 shares of Ford. However, I did acquire 100 shares of Ford, so I'm going to put a Y here. And I acquired them at $12.85. So now I have 200 shares of Ford because I've been assigned 100 shares in the past. And basically, I'm just waiting for the price of Ford, if it does, to eventually go back up and try to sell some calls. And Marqeta here has a farther out expiration. We can see 4/21. So we have to give that time to see what develops by then. And so far, if everything stays consistent, I have made $50 in premium this month. I did end up doing something I said I wouldn't probably do again, and that is buying calls. I don't usually end up buying options because my timing is often awful. But when a lot of the bank stocks were down last week, I ended up buying 3 calls on SoFi at an average cost of $1.55 or $155 total. And this is a $5 strike expiring October 20th. So they're farther out, and it gives me more time to see how SoFi develops. And so far, it is still in the money. So if I wanted to buy all of these shares and exercise these options, I could do so, as long as it stays above $5 a share. However, right now I am down $3, but we have till October to see how this pans out. And that's basically all I have to update with. I'm just trying to wait and see what happens with Ford and some of these other stocks that I own, like Marqeta, and try to sell some calls if they ever eventually go up. That way I can make premium off them, and if they end up being exercised, maybe I'll make some capital gains as well. In my next video, I want to talk about what I like to buy. I mentioned this in the past video, but I want to show more specifically what I like to buy when times are red, just like today and probably the rest of this week. To give you a little bit of a trailer, one is VOO and the other are some dividend stocks because I like paying more in income tax. So stay tuned for that video if you're interested. Like I said, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any in the future. And thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in a future video.